New York Community Center for Spiritual Living. I am Reverend Loretta Brooks, and we warmly welcome you here each and every Sunday morning. The theme this month is co-creation, and we also have the privilege of having a Master Reiki healer with us today. Her name is Carmen, and I'm going to ask her again to say her last name for me. Larino. Did I say that right? Larino. Carmen Larino. She's going to be doing a healing circle for us this afternoon. I've heard so many wonderful things about the work that these people are doing here in Manhattan, so we all look very, very forward to that, Carmen, and welcome to you, your friends, to everyone who is here this morning. And we always say in the beginning of service that however you are feeling right now, just check in with yourself, because when you leave here today, you will be feeling a lot better. And I know that there are a lot of challenges that people are going through. There's also this thing this weekend called the super duper blue wolf moon, right? And we're not supposed to believe in that. However, sometimes things happen. But we have to just be mindful and just know that we are being blessed all of the time, over and over again. Sure. So having said all of that, I would like to welcome you, and now we're going to have a spiritual mind treatment. This is how we start all of our services. So please help me welcome Court Hassinger. He's doing our treatment this morning. Court?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. The theme for the month is creativity. So I'm going to do a spiritual mind treatment on being creative. So let's everyone sit up straight, take a deep breath, and it's good if we put our hands out in the upright position. And here we go. This word is spoken into the law of mind in action for each one in this room, including myself, the speaker. We know and we recognize that there is one power and presence for good in the universe, and we recognize this power as one God, one intelligence, one mind. Each one here is unified with this one mind by way of our subconscious mind. We are divinely connected to the one mind of God by way of our subconscious mind. Therefore, each one here asks for and does receive divine guidance throughout this day and forever forward. Let this truth now be known and declared for each one in this room, that we are now have a further understanding and embodying the truth that being creative is an act in mind beginning within our consciousness as first cause. Therefore, thinking correctly is paramount, because what we think, we manifest. Therefore, each one in this room is hereby now learning to think correctly and therefore manifesting positive outcomes into our experience. And that is the truth. We know that negative thoughts have no law to support them, therefore they have no power over anyone in this room. Any negative thoughts we may be harboring within the inner recesses of our subconscious mind, such as lack, limitation, obstacles, hardship, struggle, unworthiness, bitterness, and resentment, are hereby now uprooted and dissolved away. And knowing that the universe abhors a vacuum, from this new space of nothingness are only new thoughts, positive thoughts that contribute to our positive experience in this life, and that is the truth. I hereby now affirm that each one in this room is manifesting and thinking correctly and therefore manifesting positive outcomes into their experience. I affirm this truth knowing that as we ask, so too shall we receive, for that is a spiritual law. I now release this word into the law of mind in action. This word is now moving forward into the realm of the absolute where all things are possible. It is moving forward into the law with mathematical and mechanical certitude, manifesting as a creative understanding for each one in this room. And I joyfully, gratefully, and lovingly release this word with gratitude, thanks, and praise, and so it is.
A very beautiful treatment, which will set the tone for our lesson this morning. And now please help me welcome our licensed practitioner, Barbara Munlin. She's going to do reading.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I am reading from The Power of Decision by Raymond Charles Barker in line with today's lesson, You Decide. Chapter 3, Decision. Decision is the most important function of the individual mind. No creative process can begin until a decision is made. I could not write this chapter until I had arrived at the decision to do so. Having made the decision, every right idea will flow into my consciousness. Each idea will reveal itself at the instant I need it. The writing proceeds, but it could not proceed without my having decided. The creative process await your decision and your calm acceptance of the necessary work on your part following the decision. Ideas follow ideas as you proceed in the work of bringing to pass that which you have decided would now be. You are able to accomplish anything you really want to accomplish. The infinite is yours to explore, and the infinite is never dull, stale, or commonplace. To say that you do not know what to do or do not know what you want is to negate the infinite intelligence which is individualized in you. What you are really saying is that you think other people are better equipped to determine your good. No one else on earth is better equipped to determine your good than you are. The universe has no favorites, and God knows no special person. Others may have more factual knowledge and more experience. They have this because of their own decisions. Consciously or subconsciously, they decided to think new ideas, read new sources of ideas, and execute definite plans based on the new ideas they have assimilated. They know more because they decided to know more. You can do likewise. Your decision to explore new realms of mind will take you away from your comforts of each day unless you let your comforts coddle you into only existing rather than actually being. You were created to be. And to be, you have to emerge from the cocoon of commonplaceness. Thank you. and dare to venture in consciousness across uncharted seas of mind. There are people everywhere who have decided to expand their lives. They have decided to be well and not sick. They have decided to prosper and not continue in financial limitation. They have decided to give and receive love. They have decided to be themselves. As a result, they have right ideas revealing themselves in their minds to accomplish their decisions. Such people make contributions to the world. They do not wait for others to create the new idea, the vital, and the futurative. They do it. They are willing to change consciousness. They consciously and unconsciously realize they are important to the grand scheme of life. They may never acquire fame or fortune, but they have the sense of well-being which accomplishes all creative activity. You belong in their ranks. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful reading for today. Thank you so much. And now we have our announcements. So I did say before we will be having a healing circle today at about 12:45. We have a wonderful master Reiki healer here. Her name is Carmen. And I'm not going to say her last name because I can't pronounce it correctly. So she'll introduce herself to you later on today. We all look forward to that, we really do. And I just want to say also that we will not have our prayer practitioners doing practitioner work after the service today because of the healing circle. So the healing circle will start around 12:30, 12:45, okay? And I would love to urge all of you to be a part of it. I've heard so many good things about that. We also have, beginning this Wednesday night, Fanny Munlin, who is going to be available at the Unitarian Center on West 76th Street and Central Park West. I believe the entrance is at number 4 West 76th Street. Fanny will be speaking on, and who to learn about this more than anyone here is Fanny Munlin, Spiritual Mind Treatment. She is really incredible with that, very powerful. So if you would like to learn more about it, if you would like prayer work for yourself or for other people, please bring your friends, come over there and see Fanny Wednesday night. Starts at 6:30 and ends at about 8:30, okay? So that promises to be a wonderful opportunity and blessing to each and every one of you. And we ask that you give a love offering. No one is turned away for not giving something. However, we do pay rent on that space, so it's important if you can to contribute. Thank you. Okay, so having said all of that, it is now time for each and every one of us to wish each other a very happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday, Melvin. I think you need to turn off your cell phone because he got very annoyed. I saw it in his face. So when somebody's treating, okay. Thank you, Melvin. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, Pam. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, Eve. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, Barbara. Nice to see you. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Okay, and now it is my pleasure to introduce to you our wonderful, incredible Yoichi. So Yoichi, take it away.
Good morning. So this morning, I would like to place something that reminds me one little story that when I moved to the United States back in 2000, and the first city I lived was Richmond, Virginia. Don't ask me why. I tried to stay away from Japanese. I was only learning English there, so I went to language school at the VCU. Click some of you guys probably. So I took classes at VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University, and I tried to stay away from Japanese because I knew I was going to speak Japanese to other friends, yes. So somehow, yes, I was successfully stayed away from Japanese. And then moved to Philadelphia to go to Temple University, where I got my undergrad degree. And so on the way to Philadelphia, I had a friend of mine, still a good friend of mine down from DC, and he was one of the English, international student coordinator. And I would say probably he's the first friend I made, after moving to the United States. So on the way to Philly, it takes like about 4 or 5 hours drive, and he wanted me to play the boombox. And I got a couple CDs, and one is Toto, and the other one is Journey. And I prefer Toto, cause somehow. But he said, I like Journey, because Toto sounds kind of depressing. That's actually true. Toto has a lot of minor keys hits, and Journey instead, on the other hand, Journey has tons of great hits in major keys. It's kind of strange. By the way, Toto, that's coming from the Japanese company makes all the toilets. Toto. You might see it. The little thing says Toto. Not a standard, Toto. That's... But anyway, so that's a little story. So this morning is, of course, I'm not playing Toto this morning because that's not how I start the day. Well, sometimes, but not on Sunday, differently. So I'm gonna play something from Journey, late 70s, like early 80s hit, something called Open Arms. Open Arms. Am I saying right? All right, good. Hope you enjoy.
Republic of Yoichi, right? Wonderful, thank you. Absolutely wonderful. So this morning, I am speaking to you about a subject that I really, really think is very important. And that subject is the power of decision. The title of my talk today is You Decide. And it's based on the theme that we have this month, which is co-creation. When we are creating, when we are creative, we not only create with our little human self, but we create with the larger self, the power of the divine intelligence, which comes through and for each and every one of us. That's what we teach here, and that's what this lesson is about this morning. So it is my intention that when you leave here today, that you will feel better than when you came in, that you will be able to let go of some things and be able to recognize that with spirit, with God, with the higher intelligence, all things are possible. Not some, but all. So let's get started with our lesson this morning. And thank you for that wonderful music. Thank you for the beautiful reading and the wonderful, wonderful treatment. Thank you. Thank you all. Appreciation, that is really a key factor in life, what we appreciate. Sometimes it's hard to appreciate things, but when we change and make a shift, it becomes a little bit easier. So I used a book and also several different teachers, so I always give credit to the higher power and also to Reverend Donald Curtis, who wrote a book many, many years ago. I actually had the privilege of meeting him in Morristown, New Jersey, at the Center for Spiritual Living there. He wrote a book called Happiness and Success Through Personal Power. And sometimes some of these books that were written so long ago are really, there's so many little gems in them. And I want to share some of the gems that he actually wrote about. So he was one of the disciples in the Ten Commandments. 10 Commandments, right? Just checking. Yeah, 10 Commandments. I don't know why I get that mixed up sometimes. 10 Commandments, okay. So he was one of the disciples in the 10 Commandments. He was also an actor. He was a very good friend of Dr. Grayson, and he eventually became the minister in a very, very large Unity Center down in Houston, Texas. And he wrote this book about personal power. And I want to share something with you which really starts off the lesson for us this morning. So, I was kind of thinking this morning and through last night and yesterday that maybe all of us would not be here this morning. Anybody else was with me on that from the weather report? It really kind of ties into the lesson this morning about, you know, like what we plan for and what we feel and what we think about and all the rest of that. So they told us in New Jersey, the New Jersey News, which I watched, that we were going to get about 8 to 10 inches of snow. So I was thinking to myself, wow, that's a lot. I'm not going to even, you know, I can't do that. That's not possible. And then I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning because I was probably a little concerned, and I looked out the window, and it was raining. So that was a good thing. And as someone said this morning, we love the rain because the rain is nourishing, and it is helping everything to grow. So I want to share something with you from this book before I start the lesson, because I love what he says. He's talking about making plans and deciding and making decisions. And he says, clearly organized plans are the eyes of your mind. I'll say that again. Clearly organized plans are the eyes of your mind. And then he goes on to say, form them clearly and carefully. You cannot accomplish very much when you don't know what you're doing. True? Yes, true. You cannot accomplish very much when you don't know what you're doing. I think the lesson today speaks to the fact that we are all influenced by what we hear, by our senses. So for today, a lot of people thought that there would be a big snowstorm, and what does that put into our mind, though? Sometimes it's worry or fear or all of those kinds of things. So I have 5 steps for this lesson today. You decide. Remember what he's saying. Clearly organized plans are the eyes of your mind. And let's begin with the lesson on. The first step I have is clarity. Clarity. What I want to talk to you about with clarity is that when you are clear about something that you are doing, whatever it may be for you, when you get clear about it and you have clarity, you know exactly what you would like to accomplish, and you are able to accomplish it, and you are willing to accomplish it. Clarity means that you have a purpose, that you have made a decision. As Barbara said in the reading from Raymond Charles Barker's book, The Power of Decision, you have to make a decision. You have to decide upon something, you see. So if something is happening and you are facing a challenge, you have to make a decision to let go of whatever it is that you are fearing and to replace that fear with faith. And even though sometimes we walk, as I've said before, through the valley of the shadow of death, as it says, we know that Spirit is with us, that there is a higher intelligence that is always guiding us and delivering us into a whole new idea. So sometimes what looks like a challenge actually becomes a better life for us. Have any of you ever had that experience where you've had something happen to you and you've thought about it and you say to yourself, this is really something, I don't know what's going to happen, and it ends up being a blessing in disguise. So when you begin to look at it that way, you see, many, many years ago, I left a marriage that was not good for me. And when I look back on that now, I'm very grateful for that. I have a lot of gratitude for that. Although at the time it was very, very challenging. I had a little boy to take care of. It was very challenging, but I had the strength. I didn't know what I was going to do, but the first words that I said were, these were the words that I said: the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And out of those words, because words are the things that can comfort us and heal us, and they can also hurt us. When we start telling ourselves what's going to happen now, what if, we're not being clear. We have to get back to faith in a higher power. And when I said those words to myself, I began the journey with a single step, and I never looked back. And that's really sometimes what we need to do, facing life, erasing the things that would disturb us, and moving forward with clarity. So the first step in deciding about something is deciding what is it that you would like to have. Freedom and ease in living, a good life, a better life, improving the quality of your life, better relationships. If you don't know, and I've said this so many times, what you would like to have, how can Spirit give it to you? So the first step is really to be clear about what it is that you would like to have. Maybe you'd like to let go of something. Maybe you came in here feeling fearful. What's going to happen next? Maybe you can make a decision, or you can make a decision to change that fear into faith. That you have faith, that you will step out into life with the faith of Spirit, the faith of God, the higher intelligence, whatever it is that you are believing in, that you are knowing for yourself. You are opening your mind to receive, which is something that Barbara has been teaching over at the center for the past few Wednesdays. You are having clarity about something, getting a clear set or a blueprint for what it is that you would like to do. The second one is persistence. When you make a decision, you have to stand by it. You have to respect that decision, and you have to not let yourself get sidetracked, right? Even if you drop down and you feel like you've lost something, you've got to pick yourself up and keep on going, regardless of what happens. I've been watching a lot of things on YouTube. I was talking with Rick about that this morning. There's so many things out there on YouTube, people. You really can go on YouTube and get all of these amazing people that will teach you all kinds of things and still come here. Robin Sharma, wonderful teacher. Tony Robbins, Les Brown, all kinds of people are teaching us things out there. Go on YouTube, click on, listen to them. They have powerful messages for you. They will teach you things that will help you. I have completely dropped out of the news loop. Where I used to watch the news maybe an hour or two a day, I now watch YouTube. I put YouTube on my television. I have a smart television, smarter than I am. And I have my television set, and I'm watching YouTube with all of these different things. So all of these great people are contributing so that I can be persistent. You have those days where sometimes you just feel, do you ever have one of those? You just feel like, what's going to happen next? So many things happen in our lives. Today we're living in a world where everything is in change and disruption. And where do I get my strength from? I don't get it anymore from out there. I get it from within. I go within on a daily basis. I meditate and I pray. And where do I get these ideas from? From some of these leaders, these amazing leaders who have taught me so much. And I'm always learning. You can make a decision to become a lifelong learner. You can make a decision that you are always going to learn something each and every day that will empower you to be able to do new things. Get a clear vision. Get clarity about what it is that you want to demonstrate. That's the second step. You decide. No one decides for you. No one. This week, I was talking with people, and there was a woman who asked me to write a letter of reference for her. She wants to be a teacher. And I've never seen her teach, but I know her, so I could really write the letter. And her mother got on the phone as we were talking. Now, this is a woman, the woman is 50, and her mother's probably somewhere in her 70s. And I said to the mother, you know what? You don't need to be on the phone in this conversation, right? I want to have the conversation with her so I can get a feel for what I'm going to put in that letter. Why am I bringing this up? Because sometimes this mother did not want to let go. We have to let go of certain things in our lives. Something happens to us, we have to make it better, not worse. That's the key. That is the key. If some kind of a challenge comes through you, make it better for yourself. Make a decision that you will comfort yourself, that you will be that best friend, that good person for yourself, that you will take better care of yourself each and every day. Self-care, being persistent. I shared a story last week which is incredible to me about Rocky, Sylvester Stallone. And some of you weren't here for that, but I'll just tell you a little bit again because it was so powerful. He had such a vision about becoming an actor that he was willing to give up everything. He gave up his marriage. His wife left him because, he wasn't doing what he needed to do or whatever. He actually sold his dog. I think he got like $1,500 or $1,000. He bought the dog back for $15,000, but that's after he made Rocky, and that movie made $200 million the first year it was out. That is a burning desire. That is a passion. So get passionate about something that you love. Think about yourself. Care for yourself. Be persistent. And you can pray for persistence. If you are feeling like, what am I going to do next? What's around the corner? You can pray to Spirit. You can go and get a practitioner to do prayer work for you. There are so many opportunities that will expand your view of life, you see. I'm thinking about that woman, the mother and the daughter. Now, if this was 10 years ago, I wouldn't have said that to her. I really wouldn't have. I wouldn't have had the nerve. Is it nerve? I don't know what you call it. But whatever it is, I had it because I needed to let her know that I cannot do prayer work with someone and write a letter for someone while the mother is on the phone telling me what I should be doing and what I shouldn't be doing. The reason I'm bringing this up is because this is a part of getting clear in consciousness. So this is clarity. If I am clear about something, I have clarity about it, and I have to speak my word, you see? And I have to have persistence. That's the second thing. So you make a decision you'd like to do something. So how many people in here want to do something? That's good. Unanimous. Everyone. We all get up every morning. We help. We're in service. We do different things. Some of you are in theater. Some of you don't know what your next step is, but I assure you there will be a next step. There will be something good, something creative, and something positive for each and every one of you. And here's another thing that we do. I can't do anything because I'm living on a fixed income. There's no such thing. Do you get that? When you really understand this teaching, there's no such thing as a fixed income. There's no such thing. That's what they tell you. They tell you you're living on a fixed income and you believe them, and then you don't go to your own creativity where you can create more money. You can create more good in your life because you have talents and skills. Everyone has that ability. Some people do not, but most people do. And when you reach out to Spirit, to a higher power, you can demonstrate that. Persistence. You can pray for persistence. You can pray to keep on going, even when you think sometimes that you can't. The third one, which I love so much, is attention and care. Pay attention to what you are doing. There's someone on YouTube, his name is Jim Quick. Anybody hear of him? He's okay. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that. You know, everyone resonates with different teachers. You know what I mean? So he's okay. You may like him, but to me, he's okay. But I love one thing that he says because it's so important. He says, every one thing that you do perfectly becomes that one thing over and over again. So if you do something really well, you set yourself up to do everything really well. And he talks about making your bed in the morning. I make my bed every morning. But he says some people do not make their beds. I'm not putting you on a guilt trip. Don't go home and say, Reverend Loretta said I didn't make my bed. It's okay if you don't make your bed. All I'm telling you is that what he says is that when you make your bed and you make it with care, you will do everything else the same way throughout the rest of the day. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. That's the part that I love that he said. I love that. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. People in here are wonderful. In the morning, people come in and they do things and they help us, and they do things very, very well. So the way that you do one thing is the way that you do everything. The way that you care for yourself is the way that you will care for others. You see? So it's very important to pay attention to what you are doing and do it with great care. Do it with great love, whatever it is that you are doing. If you are in a relationship, and I catch myself doing this because I've been in a relationship with the same person for about 24 years. It's a long time. And sometimes it gets challenging. Anybody ever have that experience? And so what I do is I just try so hard and I come back to myself and I say, I have to stop this. We become critical. We all do this. We all do it. And I have to bring myself back and say, stop. You know, what is it that you love about this person? What is it that makes you stay in this relationship? Look for the good in other people. Look for the good in yourself. Self-care, preservation. And you can pray for that. You can pray that Spirit is helping me. Spirit is blessing my consciousness so that I am able to take better care of myself on a daily basis. You can pray to release something. You see, you have this wonderful tool called spiritual mind treatment, which is our form of prayer. And it's wonderful. And you can learn how to do it this coming Wednesday night with Fanny Munley, who is a wonderful, wonderful practitioner. So you can do that. You can learn more about it. You can treat yourself, as Raymond Charles Barker says, treat yourself to life and yet more life. So we have clarity, we have persistence, we have attention and self-care, caring for things. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Whatever you do, do it with care, okay? And number 4 is faith, and I love this as well. Faith as an affirmative attitude. Attitude is everything in life, isn't it? Sometimes I'll go into a store and some of the people in there are so wonderful and kind and nice, and then you go around the corner and you have a completely different experience. Yes? Yeah. And it really carries through because the way that you start your day, but what I'm learning is that I have a sensitivity to energy sometimes. We all do. I'm sure these people know what I'm talking about. And when you have that, you have to like kind of bounce things and not let them affect you. I've learned that so much. Do a treatment, pray for the person. Maybe there's a person in front of you that's very angry. And instead of joining them in their anger, say a prayer for them or bless them. You see? So you're looking for faith. Faith as an affirmative attitude. What is an affirmative attitude? It means that no matter what is happening in my life, I will see the gift in it. I love that. No matter what is happening in my life, I will see the gift in it. And what is happening is when you see the gift, what will you do? You will receive the gift. You will get the gift. The gift will come to you. And you may not see it because it may be something that may take a little while. But if you will hold on to the idea, this is it, it's all about the ideas. It's all about the way we speak to ourselves. If you will hold on to the idea that there's a gift in this, you see? And what is the gift? You don't know. But if you hold on to that as an idea, you will see the gift. It will show up. It will become your blessing. It will definitely become your blessing, you see? I used to talk to you a lot about these people that I had that were tenants in one of the houses I have down at the shore, and I rented. And this woman was the tenant, I don't know if I should say this, but the tenant from hell, let's just put it out there. And it was very challenging, very, very challenging for me. And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and she had a 2-year lease, her and her husband. And I thought they were such lovely people. Wrong. Anyway, they were lovely people spiritually, let me clarify. But on the human level, they were very challenging. And what I did was I said, what is the gift? How could there be a gift in something like this? These people have a 2-year lease. She calls me every couple of days and calls me every name in the book and not in the book. And when I get these calls, it's very unsettling, so I pray. I asked Barbara, I asked Fanny, I asked everyone to pray. Everyone to pray. I asked Lynette Tucker to pray. Well, guess what? I saw the gift and I received the gift. Because the gift was, she was there for 5 months, and she called me up and she said, I have some news. And I said, oh dear, I don't know if I can take this. And she said, I'm really sorry to tell you, but we're leaving, we're going to break the lease early. And I said, oh, thank you, God. And it was only 5 months, it wasn't 2 years. That was the power of prayer. That was the power of prayer, and my belief system, which began to accept that. I didn't go to any lawyers. I didn't go. I didn't go to a lawyer. I could have, but it would have been a lot of money and a lot of aggravation. But I went to the power of prayer, you see. And a lawyer is wonderful. I just had to utilize a lawyer for something else, which worked out very well. But I knew through the power of prayer, you have to get a hold of that idea, and you have to keep that idea within you. Whether it be for your work, the challenges you're going through, whether it be for someone with their health, hold on to the idea that there's a gift and that you will see that gift and you will be blessed by it. Hold on to the idea. Have persistence, have faith. Ben Vereen, the great dancer from the late 1980s and 90s, who was in Broadway and all kinds of shows and did all kinds of performances, he was on death's door. He had some appearance of cancer. He was in the hospital, I believe it was here in New York somewhere. And the doctors told him he didn't have long to live. Michael Beckwith, Reverend Michael Beckwith, and 2 other people who I don't know, but I know Reverend Michael was there. They went into the hospital, they sat with that man for 2 or 3 days and did prayer for him. He walked out of the hospital and had a healing. You see, this is really the power. This is what people are learning now. The medical profession is starting to accept attitude. Your attitude towards something is very important. The body and the mind are connected. They're beginning to understand this. Bernie Siegel wrote many, many years ago a book called Love, Medicine, and Miracles, where he talked about this. And a lot of doctors didn't like it. They were very upset with him. And now it's becoming more and more mainstream, you see. Meditation, yoga, all of these things. Get your idea, hold on to it, and know with persistence that it's coming through you. Whether it's a health challenge, a work challenge, whatever it may be, know that God is blessing you, uplifting you, and inspiring you. Know that you are a part of the divine, and that spirit is for you all of the time. However you practice, we don't tell you here what to practice. We teach you about different things, and then you make the selection. You decide. You are the one that decides for yourself what to do with this information. We don't say you practice this or that. We say, I practice every day with meditation and prayer. We teach our form of prayer, which is 5 steps, and it's wonderful. It's a wonderful method, and you can accept it or not, but when you have an affirmative attitude, you are blessed. You are blessed with faith, an attitude of gratitude, being grateful. And people say, well, how can you be grateful when something happens to you? If you look for the blessing in it. And number 5 is practice. That's really what I wrote down. I wrote down practice. Practice is really having a morning practice. Getting up every morning or in the afternoon or evening, whenever the time is free for you. And people will tell you they don't have time. People that do the most. If you want someone to do something for you, ask a busy person. How many have heard that? Very true. Because the busy person is able to do it. The person that's not so busy will tell you all the reasons why they can't. So if you are telling yourself each and every day, I don't have time, time is all you have. time is all you have. And if you don't have time, this is a time period for you to work with consciousness and to begin to make meaningful and wonderful changes in your life. We have people in here who have healed relationships, who have made changes, who have done incredible things with their health. We have amazing, amazing demonstrations. And we don't only pray for the right and perfect practitioner, we also pray for the right and perfect treatment. And that can come in the physical world. It can come through a doctor, a chiropractor, it can come from a healer, Reiki healer, whatever it may be. We pray that Spirit is guiding you to the right and perfect treatment, and that you are finding that, you see? So this is really what this is about. You need to practice every day. You know, if you are involved in any kind of education, any kind of sport, any musical instrument, Yoichi plays beautifully, and he practices. He learned the English language through practicing. Practice is everything. They're learning about that more and more and more. And you can practice the presence each and every day. Set up a little time for yourself in the morning to practice. Practice the presence. The more that I meditate, the more I realize the inner world is so incredible. It really is. It's where all of our ideas come from. It's where all of some of the great geniuses, like Einstein, Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs, all of these people who have created things that are different, they were hooked up in some way. Thomas Edison used to take a 10 or 15-minute nap every once in a while. He's from New Jersey. And he would go into this nap and then come out of it with all kinds of ideas about electricity and the light bulb and so on. And they said to him, you made, what was it, like 50,000 mistakes? And he said, no, I didn't. I just found 50,000 ways that it doesn't work. And I really like that, you see? He wouldn't let himself think in any way, shape, or form that he had failed. He just did all of these things that didn't work yet. But he knew within himself that it would work eventually. It's the same. We may not be like Steve Jobs or Albert Einstein or any of those folks, but we have our own gifts to give. We have our own gifts to bring forth. The more we nurture them, the more we learn about our attitude of gratitude, being grateful, you see? That is really where it is. I did a little outline for you of this lesson. I'd like to go over it with you now. So the first thing we said was look for clarity. Get the clarity of life. Pray for clarity. So let's use an example here because it's much easier to do this. So I'll use an example. So how many people in here would like to increase their income in the year 2019? Okay, everybody. So we all want to increase it, right? How many people want to make a lot less money this year? Nobody, see? How many people want to have really good health this year? How many people want to have lousy health? You see, it's recognizing what's good for you and what's not good for you. That's a part of it. That's your choice. So you are at choice because you are choosing an idea of good health. You are choosing an idea to create more wealth, right? Relationships, harmonious, supportive, loving, yes? Yes. Lousy, yucky, negative, no. Creativity, which is really the theme for the month. Every person in here is always creating. We're always creating. And if you've made a mistake in your life, this is a question I have for you. If God has forgiven you, then you can forgive yourself, right? You can forgive yourself. So if God has forgiven you, then you can forgive yourself. Spirit has forgiven you, you can forgive yourself. You can let go. And just allow yourself some breathing room so that you can get out there with more self-care, more joy, more peace of mind. So let's take income. Everybody wants to make some more income. 20, 30, 40, 50,000 more a year. How do you get there? By creating the idea, you see. You get the idea that I would like to demonstrate a certain amount of money. And that's your idea. And then you write it down and you create a plan for it. How are you going to do it? Whatever it is for you, whatever it is that the service that you provide. You are going to have more clients. You are going to have more people in your world that are contributing to you. All kinds of good things are coming through you. You are being blessed. You are having the right attitude, an attitude of gratitude. And you are being blessed each and every day. That is really the way that we do that. We get an idea and we work with it. We have persistence. And then we have self-care and caring for others. Remember Jim Quick's words, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. That's really a model for all of us, you see? Because sometimes what this can lead us to is not doing the little things that sometimes we will do that will kind of be upsetting to ourselves, you see? Taking better care of ourselves, our homes, everything around us. If you drive and you have a car or whatever you're doing, taking better care of yourself each and every day, having a caring attitude. And then the faith, the affirmative attitude, an attitude of gratitude. Even when things aren't going so well for you, change the fear to faith. Change it around. Say, even though this happened to me, I will see the gift. I will see the blessing. You see? When I walked through many years ago getting divorced, it was not easy. It was very difficult, very challenging. But it was a good decision that I made. And you know, some people still have a challenge about people being divorced. I was just in an office not too long ago. The woman said, oh, she's divorced. You know, she's talking about somebody else. And then I didn't say anything. I just said, okay. You see how we judge everything, you see? And when I got divorced, it was a long time ago, so it was a lot worse back then. We are evolving. There's an evolution going on in consciousness. We are evolving. I want to leave you with some words and thoughts because I don't do politics. I don't like to do that. But I want to remind you of something that Quincy Jones said, and it's so powerful. It really is. When he was doing the concert, We Are the Children, we are the world, we are the children, I want all of you to just think about these words that he said because they were so powerful. When all of these amazing artists were coming in the door to contribute to this, people like Diana Ross, and people like, I'm trying to think of all the musicians that were there. Lionel Richie, Bruce Springsteen, Cyndi Lauper. You get the picture. You get the picture, Ray Charles. What he said to those people, and this is something for all of us to think about, what he said to those people was, as they came in, leave your egos at the door. I love those words. Those words are very powerful. They still ring true in my heart today. Leave your egos at the door. If you are working for something, work with the energy for it. Be for something, not against. Be for world peace. He was telling them at the time, Quincy Jones, that this was not about them. It was about something greater, something bigger. That's what we need to learn more about, because there is always something bigger at work in our lives. We need to get clarity about that. We need to live our lives with a vision for ourselves each and every day. Do our prayer work. Know that we are blessed and that there is a gift. We don't need to just survive in life. We need to live a rich life, a full life, a blessed life. And we need to know that we can. That's the whole thing in a nutshell, because you can. You have something so powerful within you. We all do. Everyone in this room has something very powerful within them. The spirit of life, which improves the quality of life each and every day for every one of us. Begin to see the gifts. Begin to see all of the good that has been given to you. Throughout this week, make a vow to yourself. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Promise yourself that every day you will wake up and you will say a prayer for yourself and for the world. The world needs our prayers, and we all need our own prayers as well. So I'd like to leave you at the end of this lesson with a spiritual mind treatment for each and every person in this room. So through the power of decision, we gather together to know the truth and to accept it, that we are being blessed, uplifted, and inspired. So I'd like you to take a deep breath in and give us one of those Gary releases. Thank you. And now let's proceed with our spiritual mind treatment. Let's know. One life, one power, one divine presence, which operates fully and completely upon the conscious mind of each and every one in this room. And through this talk this morning, each person begins to decide for himself or herself that there is a gift to life. Each one clings to this idea with persistence, with clarity, with a new vision for life. Each one moves out into life in a new direction, knowing that they are inspired from within, that they are blessed, uplifted, and encouraged to know the truth and to accept the truth that God is everywhere evenly present and that God is always blessing each and every person in this room as each person decides that they have a gift and that that gift is health and wealth and joy and well-being and creativity and joyous, healthy relationships. Each one in this room has a shift in consciousness to be mindful that when God is for you, nothing and no one can be against you. God says yes to this idea for all of us. God says yes to blessing each and every one of us in consciousness so that we move out into the world in a new direction with clarity, with joy, with self-care, and with excellent skills, a new attitude of faith which restores us and blesses us. We are one with the one. And for this and so much more, I say thank you, God, thank you, Spirit, releasing this treatment into the law, knowing with conviction that there is a demonstration for each and every one of us. So be it, and together we say, and so it is. And that is the way it is. Thank you. And now we're going to have the way it is. Thank you. And now we'll have some more music from Yoichi. So let's...
Okay, so the next selection, I feel like I just want to get back to my jazz business because I'm a jazz pianist, and since you mentioned Quincy Jones, who was actually more like trumpet player with Count Basie band, and also he also wrote a lot of big band arrangement as well. I just want to give you a heads up. Before going to that Michael Jackson producing things, he was really well-known, great jazz arranger and trumpet player. Anyway, so the selection I'm going to play is something that made famous by Frank Sinatra or Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong. It's called They Can't Take That Away From Me. Hope you enjoy it.
the way you do everything. Thank you.